Hi, it's Patricia with Infinite Self-Help. You can find me at infiniteselfhelp.com. Also, obviously, this YouTube channel and on Instagram. And I'm a counselor and a coach in Jacksonville, Florida, but also to anywhere in the world online. I do coaching via Zoom. And today I'm going to talk to you about internal family systems therapy. And this is a really helpful framework that I use with my clients. It's really powerful to just even have the framework in your mind as you go forward in life and go about your day, and kind of give you a new set of lenses to look at yourself and look at others with, that is helpful towards having healthier functioning and being more responsive versus just reacting to people. And we all deal with this, all right? And some of us deal with it more than others, but it's something we can all practice, learning how to be more responsive versus those automatic reactions, those old habits and patterns. So internal family systems, it's not the catchiest name, but it is what it is. So I know you can't read all of this, but I like the visual portion. So, and I'll put a link to in the description to something you can click on that looks similar to this. So in the middle is the self. So I'll start with describing that. So think of that there's a part of you inside that's your true self. That's who you really are. And when you're connected into that, that's when we can be responsive. And we get reactive when we go off into these other parts. So there's 3 other categories of parts that we can automatically, unconsciously fall into. So under this system, the parts are called managers, firefighters, and exiles. And what happens is that when we're growing up, over time, we start to more and more lose touch of our sense of ourself, our true self, and who we are. And we start going into these other parts to survive. And that's because our brains haven't really evolved for this civilized society that we're living in. So we're just like struggling to survive, you know? So even like being separated from our parents because they have to go to work and we have to go to school, and like maybe you moved around a lot, you know, or like all kinds of things that can happen that disrupt our sense of self, our sense of safety and security and knowing who we are, and that self being able to live there. So we go into these other parts to survive. So I'll just start with the managers first. So the managers, those parts, they're trying to protect you and control what's happening to keep you safe. So it's when you're falling into controlling and really striving and caretaking and planning, judging, judgmental, like being pessimistic, and the inner critic is there too. So maybe you recognize this in yourself when you're like wanting things to be perfect, perfectionism, or you know, you're being mean to yourself because you made a mistake, and that those managers are helpful parts of yourself that are trying to help you be happy, right? But it's not the most effective way of going about it because they're trying to force things and control things. And then they can be mean to you and mean to others too. So yeah, they developed while you were growing up, and maybe it was more helpful growing up to survive, but now as an adult, they can be not so helpful sometimes because we're not able to feel happiness when these parts are, you know, there's like this anxiety in there, right? And then Another group of parts are called the firefighters. This is all of your addictions, basically. So they're trying to help you by soothing you, distracting you, trying to keep you safe by like taking you away. It can even just be reading books. Like if you are a reader and you just go get lost in your books, you know, because that's an escape. It could be sleeping, shopping, working, sex, food, exercise, anything on your computer, binge watching TV, right? Binge eating food. Like it says suicidality and self-harm in here too. So like cutting or just suicidal ideation. It's like an escape, because like the idea of killing yourself might be to escape being alive, because it's painful to be alive, right? No, not right. I don't want to joke about this. Yeah, dissociation, distraction, obsession, compulsion, fantasy, even just daydreaming, right? So, yeah, it's painful to even kind of talk about this, because my compassion and empathy comes up for this person who's doing all this stuff to feel better, and it doesn't work, does it, right? So now you can see how these parts might start to play off of each other. So the manager's trying to control you to start a diet, and you stick with your diet, and then so I'll talk about the exiles. So the firefighters come up often when the exiles come up. So these are the painful feelings that you do not want to feel, and they get triggered, and then you go do your compulsive habit. So these feelings were never safely felt, and they're kind of pushed under, pushed away, like put in a box, or swept under the carpet, right? So these feelings are rage, dependency, shame, fear and terror, grief and loss and loneliness. So these things get triggered, and then we go try to self-soothe ourselves. And then the manager comes in. The inner critic comes in and starts being mean to you for blowing your diet. Like they plan out this diet, and then something happens, you're upset, and it triggers like a feeling of shame, and then you're like, oh, screw my diet, and you go eat a pizza, and then you start being mean to yourself. So you see how you start cycling around these parts on the outside. And really the point of all of this is that like you've totally lost connection with your true self. And this self didn't get to properly develop while you were growing up, because our society, our culture here in America, at least that's where I live, doesn't really support the development of this in general. And this is your core, it's your compassionate leader, and it's actively in charge. And when this is not in charge, then we're doing this dance around the outside, this painful dance around the outside, right? So what I do working with my clients in therapy is working to develop the self. Like, hey, let's pause and stop this cycle and get in touch with who you really are inside. And this core inside of you has never been damaged. It's good, and it's pure and whole, and it hasn't been hurt or damaged. It's just been lost. You've lost access to it, maybe. And this, you want to learn how to live your life being led from this part, and not when the managers take the lead. That doesn't feel good. When the firefighters take the lead, it doesn't feel good. And the exiles, we don't want to feel that at all. But again, in therapy, you learn how to feel these parts and learn to talk to them and allow them to be heard and seen and acknowledge, they're trying to help you, but then, you're connected with yourself now, so you say, I'm here now. I'm here now, and I'm going to help you. I'm in charge. Okay, you don't have to be in charge anymore. And then there are these great C words that are associated with the self. So it's calmness, curiosity, compassion, connectedness, confidence, creativity, courage, clarity. Great words, right? I mean, how does it feel even to hear that list of words? Is it disconnected, like I don't even know what that is? Or does it like stir something in you, like, oh, yeah, I would like to feel that. Oh, I can kind of feel that even saying those words. Like even saying now, I invite a sense of calmness. I invite curiosity. I invite the feeling of compassion. I invite the feeling of connectedness. I want to feel confident. I want to feel creative. I invite the feeling of my courage and clarity, right? All of that. Really good stuff. So you can start to do a practice of connecting with yourself, even for 3 minutes a day, and there's your practice right there to start have more and more access to that. And then you can start getting into the deeper work of relating to these other parts that are really struggling and in pain, and helping them from your core self, like talking to them and actually healing them. And surprise, those parts that have the not so healthy habits can turn into healthy parts. So when they're healed, they're called unburdened managers. And they can be that great manager, the kind of boss you want, right? Like you're the boss, you're yourself, but you're the CEO, okay? You have your managers under you, and they're good hires, right? You love them. They're doing an amazing job. The company is flowing, and everyone's working together. So there's collaboration. They feel confident and clear and calm and competent and creative. They feel all the C words, and they're helpful, and you're grateful for them. And then the unburdened firefighters, now you can that's your healthy relaxation, healthy unplugging, healthy time spent feeling passion, creativity, sensuality, having fun in a healthy, balanced way, right? Not because you're trying to escape. Adventurous is on here. So not dangerous, risk-taking, but adventurous, like, let's just buy tickets to Paris. I've always wanted to go, right? Seize the day kind of stuff. And then the unburdened exiles, these are actually really tender, playful, spontaneous, open, curious, trusting, sensitive, warm, innocent little parts. These are our little childlike. They're like the childlike parts that got hurt growing up, and then you had to hide them away. You weren't allowed to be playful, sensitive, warm, open, loving. It's vulnerability and tenderness, and that it's so essential to living a full life, to be able to have the exiles unburdened, and you can just play and be sweet and warm and loving with yourself and the others around you. So there it is. How does it feel to get this information if you're unfamiliar with it? Like, I can only imagine if I had seen a video like this 10 years ago that would have totally blown my mind. Even if when I was in graduate school, if I had seen something like this, it would have totally blown my mind. I did learn about internal family systems in one of my last classes, like right before graduating, and we didn't even really we went over in class for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something. So I really resonated with this therapy, and I use it as a therapist, and the research is really solid that this stuff really works. And part of the reason why it works is it gets the body involved and really it helps you to really do that deep work of accessing the deep stuff going on and working with it. And as always, reach out to me. Go to my website, infiniteselfhelp.com, and then there's the contact page. You can reach out and let me know how this lands with you. And thank you for watching.